Hello gamers, this is Sai and welcome back to Which Way Games. Now who is gaming's favourite dragon?
Out of magic, huh? How about I give you a jump start?
And with that being said, let's get on with the video.
When it comes to mascots, there have been many over the years, especially in the world of gaming. Mascots ranging from Pac-Man with its classic game from the arcade, going all the way to the legendary espionage adventures starring Solid Snake.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Gaming mascots would be the face of their brand, enticing gamers to play the games they star in and hopefully kickstart their passion for gaming.
Now, two of the biggest mascots from the realm of video games is the Italian plumber known as Mario and the fastest thing alive, Sonic the Hedgehog. These two legends of gaming were rivals back in the 90s, with games that stood the test of time and have also paved the way forward for other gaming mascots. Some of these mascots have been lost to the sands of time, but over recent years, a few of these mascots have made a bit of a comeback, and two in particular I can think of are Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. This endearing purple dragon holds a special place for gamers who were first introduced to the world of gaming thanks to the classic games on the PlayStation. But of course, where did it all begin? And so with that in mind, let's go back to where it all started.
All the way back in the mid-90s, where 2D gaming was making that transition to 3D, game developer Insomniac had just released Disruptor on the Sony PlayStation with critical success. However, despite the success of Disruptor and its futuristic setting, Insomniac wanted to take advantage of the fact that the Sony PlayStation didn't officially have a mascot to call its own.
This prestigious title had many contenders trying to emulate what Mario and Sonic had done in the past. Each of these were trying to fight for that #1 spot to become the PlayStation's mascot of gaming. Four contenders that seemed to be the likely candidates were Lara Croft, Solid Snake, Cloud Strife and Crash Bandicoot. And out of nowhere, an endearing dragon called Spyro entered the mix, who shared connections with Naughty Dog's Bandicoot.
This connection came in the form of Charles Embellis, a talented designer who was responsible for the look of both Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. However, in the early stages of development, Spyro took on a somewhat different look compared to what gamers are used to now.
In fact, Spyro was originally going to be green and called Pete, but this was ultimately changed to avoid any legal issues with Disney, especially with their classic film, Pete's Dragon.
With a name and colour change, Spyro took on the form that gamers are accustomed to, and like all dragons, there was also the need for Spyro to be blessed with a gift of flight.
Well, kind of, but it was more like gliding, or as some would say, falling with style.
Eventually, when Spyro the Dragon was released on the Sony PlayStation, gamers were taken on an adventure through Dragon World where Spyro had to free his fellow dragons and stop the ugly, nasty Nork.
Now, like most heroes, they would usually have a sidekick following them along the way. Mario had Luigi, Sonic had Tails, Link from the Ocarina of Time had Navi the Fairy, and of course Spyro had Sparks the Dragonfly.
Spyro would also be aided by other characters that would give him advice, as well as encouraging him to explore the many stages set within this world of fantasy. And combining this with some fantastic gameplay, Spyro the Dragon became an instant hit for the PlayStation.
Critics and gamers loved this game starring Spyro, and that fantastic soundtrack done by the drummer of the Police. It was like a match made in heaven, and with most successful things, a sequel was soon to follow, and then just over a year later, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage was released.
In a new adventure for Spyro, the endearing dragon would find himself being summoned to the world of Avalar, who are in dire need of a hero to save him from the evil forces of Ripto.
Spyro's Ripto's Rage was a fantastic game to play, which built upon the original and added extra goodies for good measure. And from this point, Spyro started to take his place among the gaming mascots.
Spyro was now rubbing shoulders with some of the greats from the legendary games of the PlayStation. And eventually, as his popularity grew and grew, a third installment to the Spyro series would soon raise its head.
And so the Spyro series of games would become a trilogy, with Spyro Year of the Dragon.
In the third game, Spyro and his ever-faithful sidekick Sparks are celebrating the Year of the Dragon. However, the celebrations are soon brought to a halt thanks to an invasion of the Rhinox who are working for the evil sorceress. She wishes to possess dragon eggs to restore her power and ultimately take over the world.
I've always wondered why villains are hell-bent on taking over the world, and the reasons behind it. Oh god, my eyes! Nobody wants to see Robotnik's meat and two veg.
Gameplay for the third game still continued with the same format set by the previous games. However, gamers were in for a slight treat. There were more stages, the worlds were larger, and Spyro had even more abilities.
Year of the Dragon was the perfect addition to the trilogy and cemented Spyro's place as one of the greatest gaming mascots for the PlayStation. However, Insomniac soon focused on the Ratchet & Clank series, but that's for another time.
The popularity surrounding Spyro was on par with Crash Bandicoot, and like the spinning marsupial, the adventures of Spyro weren't just limited to the gaming consoles taking residence underneath the TV. Gaming's favourite dragon soon had new adventures in the world of handheld gaming.
Now there was a crossover game with Crash Bandicoot that had Spyro and Crash swapping worlds, taking them out of their comfort zones. Quite an interesting game to play. And of course over time there were other games starring gaming's favourite purple dragon, but as technology progressed, better looking games started to appear, and eventually the series got a bit of a reboot with the Legend of Spyro trilogy.
These games took the concepts laid down by the original trilogy and reimagined the world that Spyro would inhabit, as well as his origin story. With Spyro being raised by dragonflies, he soon learns of his heritage with the fire-breathing purple dragons of legend.
Now I'm sure Spyro must have had an idea he was different compared to his dragonfly brethren.
And like the original trilogy, each game tried to improve on the last with new abilities, larger worlds, and even allowing Spyro to finally spread his wings so he can take to the skies. But despite the efforts put forward by other gaming developers, the Legend of Spyro trilogy was met with some mediocre reviews, and with this, Spyro went on a bit of a hiatus from the world of gaming.
Now as time progressed, gamers were returning back to their classic games, and the interest surrounding Spyro started to build up once again, which ultimately led to his arrival with the Skylanders series.
Greetings, young Portal Master.
Skylanders was a toy-to-life action-adventure gaming series that had gamers purchasing toys and essentially put them into the video game, but that's for another time.
It seemed that Spyro was back, wowing gamers with his cute looks, as well as tugging on the nostalgic strings of the past for gamers who grew up playing the classics. And very much like the infamous Crash Bandicoot, who like Spyro was making his way back to the world of gaming, gamers were overjoyed when the Insane trilogy was released.
Of course, it wouldn't be long until Spyro got the same treatment with a reignited trilogy.
As with the Insane trilogy for Crash Bandicoot, the reignited trilogy acted as a revival for the series and essentially was a remaster of the three original games, with updated visuals, small details for hardcore Spyro fans, and staying faithful to the classic games of the past that so many gamers had fallen in love with. The reignited trilogy certainly lived up to its namesake.
The reignited trilogy was the perfect nostalgia trip for older gamers, and Spyro soon found himself enticing a whole new legion of fans who loved the endearing purple dragon.
Overall, the Spyro games hold a special place for gamers of all ages who love gaming's favourite dragon. With each release, the adventures would continue with larger stages, new abilities, and improved gameplay. Now, despite these fantastic features, the series did take a bit of a dip in the mid-2000s. But it does seem that Spyro is now bouncing back with the reignited trilogy, which for gamers who grew up with the original games was a perfect addition to modern gaming. Now, maybe in time, Spyro will once again make a return to the world of gaming with a whole new game, where he'll team up with Crash Bandicoot as well as Mario and Sonic in an adventure that would see their worlds collide. But for now, gamers can enjoy the adventures of Spyro, thanks to the many games he stars in. And as gamers play each game, perhaps it will rekindle those gaming memories of the past.
Anyway, come back next time where the cartoon guy has to deal with a whole new breed of dragon with a classic cartoon Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you so much for watching and see you next game.